Hi there, welcome to Latent I/O. Today's tutorial is why a 70 billion parameter model fits on a laptop. A 70 billion parameter model at full precision is about 140 gigabytes. A good laptop has 16 gigabytes of memory, and a strong consumer graphics card has 24. People run that same model on hardware with only a fraction of that memory. Not a smaller model, and not a trimmed one, the same 70 billion weights, written down in less space. The trick is called quantization, and almost everyone misunderstands what it takes away. It is not pruning, which deletes weights outright. It is not distillation, which trains a smaller model to imitate a bigger one. Quantization keeps every single weight, and changes only how each one is written down. Start with the only equation that matters here. A model's size is its parameter, count times the number of bytes you spend on each parameter. Full precision means 16 bits per weight, which is 2 bytes. 70 billion weights times 2 bytes gives you those 140 gigabytes. Now change the second term instead of the first. Spend 8 bits per weight, and the model becomes 70 gigabytes. Spend 4 bits, and it lands near 40. Nothing was deleted. Every one of those 70 billion weights is still there, just recorded more coarsely. So what does spending fewer bits actually cost you? A weight is just a number, and precision is how finely you are allowed to write it down. 16 bits can express roughly 65,000 distinct values. 4 bits can express exactly 16. So quantizing to 4 bits means picking 16 buckets and rounding every weight to the nearest one. Said out loud, that sounds like it should destroy the model completely. It does not for 2 reasons. The first is that weights are not spread evenly across their range. They cluster in a tight bell around 0, with a few rare outliers far from it. One global set of 16 buckets would waste almost all of them on empty space, which is why nobody uses one global set. Each small block of weights, often 32 of them, gets its own scale sized to its own range. That scale is usually just the largest magnitude in the block. Every weight is then stored as a small integer, to be multiplied back by that scale on the way out. The buckets follow the data, instead of the data straining to reach the buckets. And the best methods go further, spending extra bits on the rare outlier weights that carry disproportionate signal. None of this is free, and the shape of the loss matters more than its size. 8 bits is effectively indistinguishable from full precision. 4 bits cost you a small but measurable step down. Below 4 bits, preserving quality becomes much harder, although newer methods continue to improve. But here is the part that catches people out. A badly quantized model does not throw an error or produce obvious nonsense. It just gets quietly worse, drifting first on long context and multi-step reasoning. You will not catch that from a handful of test prompts. So if the work matters, evaluate the quantized file on your own task before you trust it, rather than on somebody else's benchmark score. There is also an upside that almost nobody expects. Generating a token is limited by memory bandwidth, not by arithmetic. The hardware spends most of its time hauling weights out of memory, rather than multiplying them. Fewer bytes per weight means less to haul for every single token. So a quantized model is not just smaller, it is faster. And those two together are what make it cheaper. A smaller model needs fewer graphics cards to hold it. A faster one serves more requests from every card it does need. That is the arithmetic underneath falling inference prices. It is also why a genuinely good model now costs you nothing but the electricity to run it at home. Which leaves one practical rule worth remembering. For a fixed amount of memory, the bigger model at 4 bits beats the smaller model at full precision. 40 gigabytes buys you 70 billion parameters at 4 bits, or just 20 billion at full precision. The 70 billion parameter model wins that trade almost every time. Which is why the 4-bit files, the ones labeled Q4, are the default download. Quantization never made the frontier smaller. It made the frontier cheap to write down. If you want more AI concepts taken apart like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. See you on the next tutorial.